When you are on a path to enlightenment, the human way that is, you will find healing trauma and bringing forth the self of you part of that spirituality journey, which is why seeing and knowing thyself, the 5D mystic story. So, anyone who looked into our previous episodes, spirituality and your path to enlightenment, healing and or healed trauma and self, you will know your guide's voice. Okay, so we have so many different aspects when it comes to this word guide. I am a content creator, I'm a guide, I'm a mentor, right? Now, this is the part of where when I first came across my clairs, I didn't get destabilized. Nope, I had my guide. I still do. My Jesus, obviously, he's not mine, but mine, the 3-year-old, right? That's where the 3-year-old comes forth in a lot of ways. And so that self of you, because of attachment trauma information, I'm now better equipped to be both a guide for those who want to be their self for real. There's plenty of people, believe me, I didn't understand why until I met Bezel van der Kolk. Why you don't want to be yourself is because of a shame button. I don't have one. So knowing how to say, some of us have a love button, and then we are lucky with Jesus and God. And the part about how to share with respect to those who will not be a part of our 5D community, that God is not their property, nor is the Word, nor is any of the Holy Spirit. And at the same time, knowing how, for a person like me, a 5D mystic, this is sad. So, separation of consciousness, meaning when people are divided on topics, it's sad. It's also not something that needs anger, because I am not a person who's disconnected from pure consciousness. It's expanding brain. So people hear a voice and then it calls to them. And I'm going to use different stories today and right now, but my guide's voice has consistently been one. And again, I don't hear Jesus. I'm laughing because there's a conversation I had with God. Once I heard the request he made of one of his children, I said, don't come to me. You're confusing people. There's a devil, demon, Lucifer thing that I get taught about, and then you do this. This is no. Yeah, here's my commitment. My commitment is to the thing called love that they've been telling me about, humbleness. Again, this all feels very good right here. And that pullback of just be quiet, leave it alone. So knowing already of the lovely land of Shiva, unknowingness, and basically being able to be good with the right mode. Okay, so any person who will be navigating to HP will hear a voice of love and they'll say, yep, I want human love narrative. So we believe in self, being ourself. We don't twitch our nose. And the ones who do, that's okay. They can twitch their nose. Again, I understand when I hear somebody say, I don't believe in goodness. Well, then I guess you don't believe you're good at all. That's okay. You can make those. Okay, so spirituality and your path to enlightenment and healing trauma and having the self of you come to the forefront. So the number one thing when I took consciousness and change, a course with Daniel Siegel, after beginning other courses and having completed 1, 2, another 2 are halfway through, the brain. So your embodied brain, like mine, has the opportunity in the first year of life to be securely attached, and then, if all goes well, to maintain it. And then when you're in adolescence, to make that first choice point with your societal system, your social system, which turns on. And so you leave alone, you're heard from home. I had already developed a differentiated self with my home. That means you don't lose yourself. Use your human name. My name's a 3-year-old Maria. Okay, so true spirituality, life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self, which is why when I say be yourself, some people, they think of the squirrel from Cusco Land. I say, no. Being yourself with integrity, let me get more specific, and flaws in relationships and life, which is easy for all of those of us who have, and do consistently this one thing Jesus taught me. It's called, I unconditionally love you for who you are, and I'm looking for my Christ cloak, because I love that tarot card or oracle. It's a Rumi deck. Okay, so everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody knows their place is here, which is what you know when you know God and Jesus. You're always sent where you're meant to go. So no tower moment for those of us who have embodied the Christ consciousness and who chose to promise to Jesus. That's why I did my confirmation, is because I love to love, and I could feel that forgiving, not casting stones, which I learned I was doing with the words good and bad. So it's anarchy. I don't have mistrust of my human species. Do I have disappointment? Yes, but that's unfair because I was determined with luck. I have a secure attachment 1-year-old, a secure attachment 3-year-old, a differentiated 3-year-old, and I have a twin. And so I got to have my ventral vagal nervous system always on gooey wee. I then continued to choose very well what I wanted to do with my 2 hands and my 2 feet, because that's what I got taught. You can make life imperfectly perfect just the way you want as long as you do it. It's not my life. You do it. Okay, Mom, I'll do it. Okay, so this is why when you are given the good types of pushes, you will fly with love always, and then Jesus keeps on getting you to heal. And this is also my sign. I'm an Aquarius. It's the age of the Aquarius. Okay, but that's a side note. We're not more special. Everyone can be knowing how the truth and silence, they come together for those of us who know how to alchemize our thoughts and emotions and to tell someone, I love you, you're the one, or you're not the one, right? Okay, and so we keep on growing this. So there's no tower moments for us, twin flames, soulmates. No, what you will know about the path of enlightenment and healing trauma and having that self, so bringing all of you home, is that you see and know thyself. Please use your human name. Okay, so 5D mystics will gravitate towards IHP. So will people who want to be their self. And why would they need me? Well, the point is, you don't need me. But then again, all people need someone to keep them on track and to give them ideas. Creativity, right? Okay, so it's a lot of different things. I'm going to say you don't need anyone, but then again, that's if you love everyone. If you have a neighbor who throws shit in your face and your instinct is to punch them in the face, well, you haven't practiced equanimity enough. Oh, I'm kidding right now. We don't want any of those scenarios. But actually, I'm going to use the story of what Men in Black, right? When Will Smith, he's the one who gets it right with when he's shooting. He doesn't shoot anyone except for what looked like innocent to all those other people who with their eyes were watching. Like the Rumi quote goes, when you look with your eyes, you say goodbye. When you do heart and soul, no separation. That's why we don't cut cords with anyone. And that's why we will know a 5D mystic, an enlightenment soul age group inclined human being, true spirituality person. One, their guide will be Jesus with the love, not just the word Jesus. And they will not be held under the illusion of those who use the word Lucifer, devils, demons, or that basically they put you against yoga and Reiki and Akashic record readings and mindfulness and meditation and anything that is from this time, because it sounds like ignorance, not to mention a lot more. I'm going to leave it alone again, but I'm going to go back to Men in Black and that first, when he picks what? Who does he shoot? He shoots the little girl who's not a little girl, and he explains exactly what he saw and why. Now, of course, again, this is not me saying no. Those are movies. The point is, though, he noticed that there's something off about everyone except for, and then he goes to describe what the other aliens were doing. That one was blowing his nose. That one was crying because someone broke out. So this is the part of where a person who has secure attachment and maintains a differentiation of the self, and they maintain mental emotional intelligence, what I'm going to continue to bring us full closure, a true spirituality, enlightenment human being, independently from if they believe in something or not. In fact, they don't go around dismantling God either. FYI, the atheists that want to dismantle God, or the ones who are of faith who want to prove God, those are two equations of the same coin. They're just doing it differently. So a smart brain will notice with their ears, you're doing the same thing, self and other. You're not Jacob of yourselves, and you don't hear what you're doing, and you don't have to go down that path. But we also will know every voice is there for someone. We're a big planet. There's 8 billion people. Well, maybe we're a small planet, but my point is there's a lot of different opportunities in our lovely era. Like when social media came about as an online marketer, when you give guidance for a business on how to create their landing pages and how to create what they're presenting, there's shared. The more options a person has, the more they might find themselves lost. That's for people who don't know their self. which is why inner growth and me, a mentor, or anyone with life coaching, self-coaching, health coaching, all of the coaching helps for a reason. However, there's also need to be ready to have that trauma in the forefront. So the people who have big trauma or small trauma or any type of trust break, I see them, I notice them, spiritual bypassers, mantles of mental health. So we have a group, they're not authentically healing and they're not authentically doing anything except for, we're going to again leave it alone. They have their own blinders. Okay, so again, let me go back to using a different example. The Robert Sapolsky with Determined, he's sharing how your brain and how the first 3 years of that life, that the majority of what has been decided is there, which is why in his book you don't have free will. But that's where he also knew he was going to create a controversial conversation about it. So when we look at the academics and the way they look at anything, when it comes to spirituality, the only person that I turn to, I have already my basics with Jesus and God. That has never wavered 1 inch. In fact, again, that's my guide is straightforward. I unconditionally love, I'm humble, I forgive, and not because I'm going to say I forgave. No, that's the whole point. I don't. Yesterday was yesterday, today's today. That's it. And that's because you're my brothers and sisters, and I don't need to hold a grudge, because holding a grudge sounds very childlike, and it sounds like somebody needs a therapist to get away from that grudge stuff. Okay, you got ill will in your body, it's hell, you don't have to be tortured. Again, there's no movies. So when you're a grown human being, again, in your brain, you're not like, oh, the spirituality awakening journey, I'm going to lose people because, I have a mantle. Really? Aw, you're so cute with your mantles. So we don't bother with anything of saying to someone they don't have a mantle. And some will say, why not? Well, I got an adaptive child. Did you notice the perfectionist in the tone and the modality and anything that they can? Because people will hear what they want to hear, by the way. So enough experience will share with you when you have in front of you is a Cusco. The only time we will try to get heard, by the way, because that happens, it's happened, is because we really, 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 really want to be heard, because we care, in a way of saying, you're being blinded. I'm trying to show you the truth. You're refusing to hear me. Let me show you I have proof. And that is why no 5D mystic has a saga or drama with any of our oversoul. Because we're conscious lovers, and conscious lovers do not do unconscious 0-1 to 8-year-old self stuff. We don't have unresolved trauma, unfinished business that we're trying to bring to the table to someone. And that's why what you see right now online with those who are turning their backs on their twin flames and they're talking about it in a whole different way. So, 1, the path of enlightenment, healing trauma, and becoming the whole self of you, number 1, all of those child parts. If you need some therapy, you do that first, then you continue with good personal development self-help, because your muscle of emotions is you waking up, knowing you have secondary consciousness like a human being, independently from your belief systems. In fact, that's why sciences and spirituality come together. You don't have to believe in Jesus or God, but you don't have to dismantle it either. And that's where those who are emotionally, mentally, and physically mature are people who will hear the IHP voice and anything that is actively involving heart and mind. And that's because the best of being in the in-between world, let me go grab my cards, is the fact that you are just like this card. And this is not my favorite deck, I have to say. I have it, but there's a way that they share with me what their idea of humanity is. And so it is not in resonance with that which I know humanity to be capable of becoming. And so it's actually, in fact, very narrow consciousness, restrictive energy, is what I'm going to say. So when we're reading the tarot card reader and an Akashic record reader, a person like myself, we will perceive the energetic imprint independently from messages for the, and so the cards that we use, they make a difference, like I said. So these ones are not my favorite. I like some of them more than others. Others I don't like at all, because they restrict the message that the visual can give, and they lead also to a plane that is not going to give opportunity as you see it. And if you don't give opportunity for the mind to see something more, you're restricting its potential. And so that's a restrictive energy. But again, this is just personal food for thought, subjective opinion. But the card is that of the emperor. So you are capable of being your own emperor and your own hierophant when you become your own teacher. But your own teacher and guide in the way of what I bring to you is that we are not needing to use fancy words to become an in-group, which is where some people, they've been talking about you are your own guru, which is fair and square. I understand, again, people using words, but use your human name, number one, bring it down to earth. Two, you have those child charge parts, so how are you doing with your emotional plane? And that means if you consider it laundry, then you still have more room to get your window tolerance expanded, because your 1-year-old still suffers by yourself. That's your mammalian heritage. Your 1-year-old wants to be seen, to be soothed, to feel safe, to feel secure, to be yourself, which is why a mentor, a life coach, personal development helps people who do want to achieve emotional depth and maturity. If they need to get over first their emotional triggers for disruption, big fragmentation from, again, trauma, they will know of good therapists like Dr. Daniel Fox, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Basil Vanderkolk. Peter Levine doesn't do therapy anymore. Janina Fisher. Who else? Terry Real for couples. Patrick Tiahan for childhood trauma survivors. There's a bunch. Somatopia, Dr. Albert Wong, I don't know if you're still taking. Sue Martin, I don't know if you're still taking people, but there's so many beautiful therapists that are great and good. There's bad ones too. Yes. And let's not use big words. Here we will try to highlight how big words are quite unnecessary. So I have seen the word predator, and I know of those who prefer using words like that, like cynical. And then they just have a lot of time to play with words in this way that is of a 16-year-old with a spiteful 3-year-old, 16-year-old, and they're actively ignoring the 1-year-old. And it's more of a sad story of that pent-up anger which brings forth resentment and has this consistent grudge. And so that person who didn't get hugged and that inner child who consistently is navigating in an energy that can be healed if they want with good therapy. And then in time, when they're ready to have what was broken and what was taken from them that was sacred, that their 1-year-old would never have chosen to give up. Find it hard to believe. Yeah, I find it hard to believe that so many people find it hard to believe that there is goodness within humanity. Or maybe, wait, no, I don't find it hard to believe, because Jesus taught me all about forgiveness and human suffering. And God taught me how easy it is for humanity to turn their back on God the minute something is taken away from them or not given to them. And this is the part of where when you have healthy self-worth, you have a direct relationship with that which is the heart and word of God. And it is not fear-mongering. No creator would ever be as monstrous as the ones who are in shame, and a shame that comes from the medieval era. I mean, I really don't even know how else to break it up, historically speaking. The fact is, when I see the 7 to 14 charming who speak as if they think they know, I see not only an energy that is like a stone, they get more and more statuous by the minute, is the word that I'm going to share with you all. Then they're a representation of what I saw in like El Dorado, I don't know, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and there's a bunch more that I probably could come up with in this moment, but my point is that they remind me of my history books when I learned about what the medieval times, when I hear of people still whipping themselves and actually they're hurting. Do you know the medieval times existed, right? I mean, this is where, okay, 5D Mystic here, I've seen my past lives, a bunch of them, and I didn't flinch as they scrolled through my mind's eye like a movie. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Wow, I did all this with that person, all this, wow, this is really cool. Yeah, I'm just because I'm grounded in Maria's body. So it doesn't destabilize me. Also, I'm in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. So unlike when I saw Sadhguru talking about his past lives, he's a guru. He's the spirituality Soul Age group. I mean, I know he's enlightened, don't get me wrong, but he's here for the people who are going to consistently maintain their spirituality Soul Age group. Like the Zen master who talks to you about laundry, he's here for the people who have the path to enlightenment with pain and loss. They're going to say, yeah, I do have laundry. There you go. I'm not here for that. You want to be spirituality, enlightenment with love and Jesus and be a human, come on over, have fun. We're going to have a good fun because we know what we're talking about from a restorative embodiment self with integration of the brain. This is not, it's not about special gifts. This is, I'm a human. I'm a simple, decent human being that has what's called unconditional love, unflappability, all words that actually you can embody by being on all the time, because it's, why not? Why would you not be in your ventral vagal state all the time? So the ones who think that it's avoiding, it's because, yes, we do make sure to consume content that is of our emotional, mental interest that does not remind me of the medieval times and of torture. Why would I expose my very brain to that? That's disgusting energy. It's sad energy. It's something that actively existed in reality. When you can savor life, you're going to say, I'm in the era of now. I don't want to relive an era that was torturing human beings and that continues to perpetuate stereotypes to the bejesus of me. This is where a brain will be here and say, this is not funny, to a person who knows that that existed, in a way of saying it existed. People were emotionally, and it's not about hiding it either. This is that other part. So both those ends of the extremes, which is why we have different pieces of consciousness. Together we create the balance. So we don't want all to vibe and think and be one type, one note. One note would not be experiencing life. So what I'm trying to say is, not everybody is going to vibe in this, which is a good thing, okay? Because definitely I can totally see how others have different ways of enjoying their life with different interests. So with that being said, I don't enjoy anything that is going to waste my brain and my emotional time in a space that is not going to support me, to support you, and then to support the future, and then to be in a good, nice energy. And again, seeing my past lives, I will tell you, it's not funny. Oh, also knowing about history. I've seen a torture chamber from the medieval times. I don't want to watch what torture they did, ignorant human beings. So when I'm thinking of people in 2024 still doing ignorant things, I'm like, wow, that's sad. We have museums that teach creationism and not Darwinism. What's up with that? That doesn't make any sense. However, when you have a scientist person who's wanting to dismantle the entirety of faith, well, it makes sense that somebody's going to say, hey, what are you doing? Which is why we have, again, different groups. So knowing oneself, seeing things that are of your likes and dislikes, sharing them with others, healing, again, trauma. It's, I don't bring to you a trust break. I don't bring to you my idea of what is as a truth. I bring to you myself. I bring to you a path to enlightenment. So I expand a conversation. And spirituality, again, is not about you losing people along the journey of life. It's actually you grow more people and you share about the past. Not saying the past is a fact and the future is not. And then that, once again, this way of talking, which is tiresome because it's a narrow energy and it's a human being who's a teenager like a Cusco. And I still get reminded of them. There's so many of these people out there that they just pick at things. They don't expand anything. In fact, Albert Einstein, where are you? Stay away from negative people. They provide a problem for every fucking word that comes out of your mouth. So people who dismantle, they're boring. They're not enriching. Their energy is small. They bring you down a notch and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go learn from smart, happy people who know that tomorrow is eustress. Thank you, Dr. Dan. So Daniel, he shares, Daniel Siegel, how in one of his presentations, he was nervous, and I get panic attacks, so I know all about this stuff. And he got asked by the lady something about getting calm. I forget what it is, but he presents, when we move, life is meaningful. And so when you're moving, because life is meaningful, you're going to get emotions going. So he had a way that he gave, which helped me. And and then he explained what eustress is versus distress. And that's why, FYI, we want smarter people. That means emotionally mature and mentally mature people. Smarter people are expanding pieces of consciousness. When I'm around narrow pieces of consciousness, which is pretty much anyone who's not learning something new about humanity, about life, and then they're not navigating in the blissfulness of the life they can have, it's something that doesn't add, it doesn't take away, but it doesn't add to the intellectual and emotional brain of a person who's expanding. And so, FYI, when you find yourself in those arenas, try to just work it out with yourself. This is for any of you who are unstimulated mentally and emotionally by the surrounding in an effort to understand everybody loves somebody sometime. No, and that your place is here, some place is here. So we're always, if I could, that song, I love it. Hold on, let me go grab it. Oh, where is it? There's a part on the song that he says something very romantic. I'll go find it. Maybe I'll do another episode on that one. But there's something amazing about his songs, Dean Martin. And long story short, now I lost my train of thought. Got lost in my Dean. Well, he's not mine. But healing trauma and bringing your whole self is number one on that list of what begins your spirituality journey as a wholeness of you. You don't have to, again, believe in anything. It's a restorative embodiment. You're in your prefrontal cortex. It's your birthright. It's what your 1-year-old wanted from the beginning. And it's what your body and your embodied brain is headed towards. So if you claim that which was lost, if you lost that sacredness of the secure attachment and you claim it back, you're going to know an open heart. And then you're going to want to be around one, healthy self-worth people. So not the ones who say, I forgave you. You're an asshole. No. The one thing I can tell you about people like that is that you learn how to do what Paksha does with Cusco at the end, which is curious, open, accepting, and loving. And so you bring in Krishna Lila. That's experiencing the depths of the profound with playfulness. So you say, you know what? I'm going to be curious because I'm a guitar string, you're a guitar string. So I'm going to vibe with my tribe, and that's why you can keep on expanding. And then as you do that, you move out of the light body, into the rainbow, and then keep on expanding. And that's you expanding as a piece of consciousness. It's amazing. And you're like, oh, I'm back to myself again. That's how it worked for me. And Sadhguru, he gets asked, how do you know when you're in your enlightenment soul age group or when you're enlightenment? You'll know. It's like, you say, yes, Sadhguru, spot on. So any person with joy and laughter, might I add. Okay, the path to enlightenment is not the only, we have the loss and pain people. Leave them alone. They don't want to be chirpy. And they go up to people like the Dalai Lama. How dare you smile in the face of all this suffering? And the Dalai Lama says, well, some of us, it's kind of like we have the responsibility to bring laughter and joy. It's not because of not seeing what's happening. It's because we're going to bring the opposite energy. Yes. So let us agree to bring in two ends of a spectrum, and then when you can, you know how that beautiful lukewarm water, okay, or for some of us who love warm temperatures, and raise your hand, but understand other people don't like it as much, raise your hand again. So my favorite temperature is a specific temperature. As soon as it goes 1 degree below, I'm like, oh, I'm getting cold now. Okay, I'm just saying. So there's that sweet spot, like Goldilocks when she's like, oh, this bridge is just right. So when you have the two ends of a coin come together and they support each other to see both sides, it's because they play with that energy, by the way. So true spirituality is that. The ones who want to stay in the loss or pain, they are completely like down. You'll hear them talking like that. I don't think we have the opposite. That's actually the toxic positive. But then again, I shouldn't say that because there are those who are completely on that opposite spectrum. Yes. So while some people think that I'm a complete opposite spectrum or that toxic positivity, I'm in the middle. I acknowledge all emotions. I just choose the one that I'm going to consistently savor. So I acknowledge all emotions because they exist and none of them are bad or good. Like people, there's no inherently good or evil. They all will either be people who will be able to be their self with integrity and then with their flaws. And then that means they can be actual brave people. That's a pot shot. Or they can be the cowardice, which is a Cusco, which means they don't have integrity. And their flaws are, well, no integrity. So they don't know how to take ownership of their flaws and say, I'm going to be self aware, accountable, and regulate. And I won't bring to you mental, emotional, or physical shit that disrupts your day to day. Okay, so when you meet spiteful teenagers that don't grow up, yeah, that's fascinating. We're going to talk about that one in another episode. So, again, 5D Mystic Stories. We love all people. We have a good time. And above all, I love lovely Jesus. And thank you, Sadhguru, for being out there. And then I love all my academics, all of them. I love all my herd, of course. We love everyone, though. Polyamory, remember, we're considered a lot of things. But what we love to know is that love is infinite. It's time that, yeah, I only have 24 hours and they're all busy. Like, I need to calculate. Do you want room? Okay, let me go grab my calendar. How consistently do you want to be here? Do you want the door? So, logistics. Again, my lovely solo poly, that's all about a chit chat. It's not in thin air. No, we don't do 5D. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do an episode. We'll be back shortly. In the meantime, thank you again for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe if you desire to, if you are appealing to our messages here, and if you really want to do emotions and thoughts like a grown up and have fun in life. So again, self-help, it does help. The people who do it, the ones who say it's bullshit and crap, they have a Zen master. He tells them about laundry, and then there's others who tell them about pain and ubiquitous suffering and how emotions, you don't have them. A lot more stuff to basically say, don't be vulnerable. Come on over there. Bye. See you later. There's a door right there. We're going to go have fun with the other people. We're going to be the lukewarm water, and then some of us are going to get hot, and then some are going to get cold, and then we're going to keep on meeting in the middle, and we're going to have a good time. So, again, thank you for stopping by.